She's still laughing.
That's so funny. Welcome to 5 Lemons Left. We're the real stuff, the lemons making lemonade. So pucker up, because we're going to be discussing our life's lessons and the nitty-gritty details of our spiritual journeys.
Hey y'all, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Drusilla.
I'm Melissa.
Hello, this is Morgan.
And I'm Penny. Welcome to our podcast today.
Welcome to the third installment of the Abundance Chronicles. Previously, we have talked about prosperity and abundance, and then we talked about overcoming lack and limitation. And today we're talking about manifesting and the law of attraction. And Morgan is going to start us off by telling us what it is.
Okay,
or what it is to her, I should say.
Yeah, thank you. Good clarification. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we're doing this whole series on abundance, and no conversation about abundance would be complete without talking about this very hot topic of manifesting and law of attraction. And as spiritual students, I think we all go through sort of a roller coaster with manifesting and law of attraction. Like, first we really get all into it, and then we're like, that's not very spiritual to want to manifest things into our lives. So then we kind of get away from it. But just like gravity, it is something that is always operating in our life, whether we choose to acknowledge it or believe in it. So we can make it work for us, or it's going to be working in our lives one way or the other. So it's a really great principle to have a basic understanding of. And so how manifesting works, which is just another word for law of attraction, is that, well, in quantum physics, they say like attracts like, or Abraham Hicks says that which is like unto itself is drawn. So if you're vibrating in this mode of complaining or worrying about not having enough money to make ends meet, then that vibration is going to attract like experiences into your life. So if you're complaining, you're going to attract more experiences to complain about. If you're stressing and constantly worried about money, then you're going to attract more stressful, worrisome events into your life about money. And it's not in any way to make you feel bad about yourself or to make you punish yourself. It's just the way the universe is designed to work. And the sooner we can get a handle or a grasp on it and start making it work for us, then the smoother and easier our life will feel. So that's my thoughts. I'm going to kick it to Drusilla. Do you have anything to add?
Well, I just would like to add one thing that's pretty amazing to me as I learned more about manifesting and law of attraction in the more recent years, is that when I reflected back on my life and then studied more, I came to realize that it actually does work even better and more effectively when you're not even trying. You don't have to participate in it. You don't even have to believe it or to actually work in your life. And so in reflection of my own life, I always wondered why life seemed easier for me and why it always seems that doors would open automatically. And for myself, I attribute that to always having a positive outlook and thinking positively. And to me, that is clearly just a simple definition of what law of attraction is.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
thoughts become
I love
things, right? If you think positive thoughts, positive things come to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I think, Penny, that was a great summing up the concept. And also that life is not happening to us. It's happening by us. And it's very hard to get, because I think we're raised thinking, sometimes woe is me and oh my God, and all this stuff happens in the world and this happened and then but it
the
really
victim mentality.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, we're victims.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's not happening to us, it's happening by us. And it is a law of the universe. And it is a quantum physics element. You do create what you think about.
Yeah. And you can see it. Sorry, go ahead, Drusilla.
No, I was just going to say, I love that aspect of it too, Melissa. The reason I do is because it allows, or it creates the thoughts in your mind that help you understand it on a micro level, meaning how else could the world operate if everything you experience is based on your perception, right? So how can it be otherwise that what you experience is it's only what you think. It can't be all else, right? So it actually should make more sense than less sense if you think about it. Right? Penny, you look like
Yeah.
you're
No.
are you looking like you're getting it? Or are you looking like, what is she talking about?
No, I agree with what you're
Right?
saying. Absolutely. Yeah.
So Melissa was saying that it seems like it doesn't really make sense, and we think that things are happening to us, when actually it does make sense that everything exists because we are perceiving it so.
And I can hear the thoughts of some of our listeners going, uh-oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Right.
it is, if you really
I think that's a normal reaction when you first start to understand this.
Yes, but it actually makes more sense than the way we were taught.
Mhm.
Yeah. And you can see it operating on a macro level when you think about concepts like the starving artist and people who believe that it's really hard to make a living as an artist doing what you love. And then therefore that's the experience for the vast majority of them. So it happens on a macro, like group think level but you're only responsible for yourself.
I have a personal story that kind of outlines it. And I've told this story before, but not in this, with this little spin on it. It's when I was my husband and I were making a lot of money, my thoughts about prosperity, abundance, manifesting was, I need more. I need more. It's not good enough. I don't have enough. If I had this, then it would be, right? All of those thoughts, like, I'm not done yet. This is what I need to be. Finish the sentence. And now I look around and I let those thoughts go gradually, right? I've been here 6 years. I've been working on this. It's been a long time now, 12 years. So like gradually changing the thinking. And so now I don't make as much money, but I have more money. And that is changing my thinking. So that's a personal story, as far as like the thinking part of the mind and what that attractor, we always say attractor factor, right? My husband about the attractor factor. I think that came from The Secret, right? I think the attractor factor came from The Secret long time ago. Mm-hmm.
I think the attractor factor might be a book, and maybe the author was one of the many people who were interviewed on The Secret movie. I'm not sure. I've not read the attractor factor, but I think it might be a book.
Mm-hmm.
But great mention of The Secret, because great place to start with this concept for anyone who hasn't read the book or seen the movie on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to revisit every so often too. I might need to go back and watch it.
Well, it was all the rage like 15 years ago.
Yeah. Or longer. Or I don't know.
Yeah.
It feels like
it was.
Yeah.
Probably
longer. And I think there's been some talk about, well, this doesn't work. I wrote down, I make $1 billion over and over and over, and it never happened. And so I think, Amanda, you said something in what you were talking about. Essentially, when you hold that thought, I will be happy when XXX, when something happens, then that is what's going to happen. You're not going to be happy because you've stated, or you think I'm going to be happy when, or I need more. So it always,
you're putting it out in front of you, like out in the future.
Well,
yeah.
And also what I'm hearing you say, Melissa, too, is that you're outward focused.
Yes.
So our manifestation and our abundance and our prosperity is not outward. It's all inward, right? And so when we are going to be happy when we are a size 2 or a size 4, or we're going to be happy when we have the big house, or we're going to be happy when we have the big bank account, that's all outward focused. And I don't know. Sometimes you can be happy when you have those things, but there's usually something still missing. Because I have a great life and I haven't always been happy.
Yeah.
Sorry to talk over you, Penny.
That's okay.
It's outward thinking and futurizing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, Melissa, you said you had a personal story that relates to all of this.
Well, I am one of those people from The Secret, who watched The Secret and was like, oh my God, all I have to do is write it down like 95 times. It will happen. I love it. That's so easy. And nothing happened. And so I have, like, in the last couple of years recently, realized that I could be saying all these things out loud and putting it out into the universe, but I still have beliefs that are running in the background in my life. And we've talked about this a lot. The unworthiness, that's I'm going to be a size 2 and have a huge house and have $1 billion. But really that the thing in the background is going, but you're not worth it. But you're unworthy for that. And so I have been really working with that dialogue, those beliefs, because I feel like when as those beliefs get shed, I have less resistance. And you wouldn't believe if I said, I've always wanted those things, or these things are, important to me, but I actually resist them because of other beliefs that are running in the background. And those things I'm really getting clear about and learning to love, like not get angry and judge myself about it, even though I've moved beyond that. And now I'm just trying to accept and work with the resistance that I have and loving myself out of resistance.
Well, what we resist persists, right?
Totally.
Love that quote. And what you shared, Melissa, made me think of the A Course in Miracles quote. It is hard to recognize that thought and belief combine into a power surge that can literally move mountains. So it's verifying that this stuff is true and that it works right there in A Course in Miracles. And like you're explaining how you have the thoughts. So as soon as you can bring the thoughts and the beliefs together, that's when the magic happens.
Yes. And it's not magical thinking. That was one word I wrote down. This is not for magic. This is not magical thinking. This is not, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to be a size 2. We know that doesn't happen, right? So it's not magic.
I've been hoping.
I know. Me too. But
sometimes we want to say, I choose magic. Can I just choose magic?
Totally.
Bewitched.
Yes.
Tabitha.
I dream a genie, link it into reality. But there's some work you got to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
good example.
Melissa, So where does the resistance come from? Is resistance the result of the belief? So if a person is saying right now, why would I resist something that I really, really want? How do
Okay.
we?
I have a beautiful example. Um,
Mm.
and it has to do with my company. And I have had a lot of like positive affirmations. My company's growing, it's my work in my company is easy, da 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 da. And so I was doing this exercise of I think it's called like the gap. So what's between those things that you are wanting or um, affirming, and then what's actually has happened. There's a gap. So if
Mhm.
January 1st, you do, I'm going to make an extra $5 million in my company. And June 1st, you haven't done that. What is the gap? What is happening where it's not happening? Right. So part of this exercise is doing a lot of writing. And I uncovered in my writing that I had a belief that if my company makes 5 million more dollars, it is going to be so much work for me. It's going to be overwhelming. I can't do it. So like just talking about it makes me tired and like,
I just got constriction in my chest, like listening to.
yeah. So that's really what I've been holding on to. Like, sounds good, but that's going to mean a whole bunch of work for me. And I don't have bandwidth for that.
Mm.
So that is
Is
the gap.
that true?
It is
Is it
true.
true?
It is true. How I conceived of it happening, how I was kind of imagining it, yes, that is true. Um, because it's filtering through this system in my body that is, I have to do it and it has to be a lot of work. But in really reality, or in the concept of universal abundance, it's not true. It can happen,
Mhm.
right?
And it doesn't have to be a lot of work.
And it doesn't have to be a lot of work. And if you believe it
Mhm.
that it will happen, it will happen. But it was also filtering through, yeah, and it's going to be a lot of work and I'm going to have to do it all.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, that
that's
makes me think. Oh, sorry, Amanda, you go. Sorry.
I was like that, and that's what you were talking about, the belief. Like that's where the work is. So
Yes, that is where the work is.
how do you shift your belief? Like what is that?
Well, this one gap exercise is about finding that little gap between what you want and what is reality, and then handing it over to a higher power and just be willing to let that go and be willing to heal that part. And that's what this exercise is that I've been doing. There's no magic to that either. I
Mm-mm.
think that's also with building worthiness, with being willing to hand this kind of stuff over to a higher power. Because if I knew how to do it differently, it would already be done differently.
Mhm.
So those kind of things, whenever that occurs to me, like that is like an alarm clock for me to say this kind of thing I need to hand over. Because if I would have already figured out how to do it, I would have done it already.
Mhm.
So I need a higher power.
Your practice reminds me of a practice someone else taught me. I don't remember if it was a practice or if it was just a question they asked me in a counseling session. I can't really remember the specifics of it, but the question stuck out in my head. And it was, if you say that you want $5 million, but you don't have $5 million, why don't you want it? Like you must not
Right.
really want it. On some level, you think you
Right.
want it, but on some level, you don't actually want it because we are that powerful that if we truly desired it, then we would have it instantaneously. So there's some incongruency within our system. In our head, we want it. In our heart, we don't, or in our nervous system, we don't, or somewhere something is not congruent
Yes.
with the thought that we want it.
That's so well articulated. So what's keeping whoever has I want to be a size 2, what would be some of those things that, why you're not a size 2, really? I think most
You have
women
to
could.
get a whole new wardrobe.
I used to always tell my husband,
That-
if I was a skinny person, I don't know if I'd be married anymore because I would be like full hoochie mama. So
we all
but
have some silly
yeah,
thoughts about
yeah,
something. Like I would
yeah.
always say that about being, if I had a beautiful voice and I could sing, I'd be like, oh my God, I wouldn't be able to stand myself. Like,
Oh yeah.
Be too big for your britches.
yes.
Well, hopefully you get some humility. I can't even say the word with that beautiful voice and that beautiful body.
So what this is bringing up for me, you guys, is like taking the steps, like, right? It's one thing to manifest $5 million. And if we go back to the basic concept if our thoughts and our beliefs combined can move mountains, to me, the first step would be start looking at to look at the thoughts and like, how are my thoughts and my words lining up? Right. That was a step that I took is okay. So I'm thinking this person is a bitch, but I'm saying, hi, like, like what are the smalls for me? That was one of the first steps is aligning my thoughts and my words. So like my word is becoming more powerful. And so what else are those steps? It's not to go from 0 bank account to 5,000, but maybe like a 0 bank, not that it's not possible, but like go from a 0 to being in debt to being, whatever.
Well, I have one trick, and I don't know where I heard this, but when you have the word want, you're always it will continue to be away from you, that you want to attract it instead of you have it or you deserve it or it's here.
You're in want.
Yes. And someone explained it to me like a want is like a quarter in a couch and that has fallen behind the couch cushions. And every time you reach down to grab it, it goes further and further away from your grab. And for some reason, that visualization just stuck with me that the more you grab for it, the further it goes away because that's what you have stated it is. It is a want. And I know I've said it a couple times here, and I just didn't have the other words for it, but that is a trick. I think that is a trick to remember your language, what you're speaking, what your vibration is, and what your belief system is. And Amanda, I remember you saying when you kind of got into this, you wanted to align with honesty and integrity in your word, and everything that came out of your mouth was honest and with integrity. And if you have that goal, how can you not get in alignment with your head and your words, right? And how can you it's such a great place to start is what I'm saying. Just to start watching what you're thinking, watching what you're saying, and having that intention of it being from integrity or from God or holy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
And you touched on the word vibration. So like changing vibration. Somebody talk about that. Shifting the vibrational frequency to match whatever it is.
Well, I will say this. What I was thinking about this in general is taking it one step further than what we've discussed so far, which is why are we wanting? Why are we wanting? It's because of what you just said, Amanda. It's the vibration. Because we are, as our whole perfect beings, we are vibrationally high. That's our nature. But we are using all of the lack and the wanting to numb the feelings of the high vibration because we don't think we're worthy. We're not comfortable with how it feels to be in bliss all the time. We don't even, it's not even comfortable. Like, and I can attest to when I have something major that happens and it's so big and exciting, I always go and try to find some very sweet dessert or have some drinks or something just to bring myself back down. It's a real thing that a lot of people are not even aware that that's what they're doing. But yeah, we are manifesting intentionally to say we need, we want, in order to create the gap between it. What we really want is that feeling of bliss. That's the true desire of our hearts. But we tell ourselves, if I had more money, if I were skinny, if I had this, it's intentional. It's subconscious for most of us, but it is intentional. Definitely.
Yeah.
It's creating the buffer.
It's like what our nervous system is calibrated to this, whatever level is what we normally are hanging out at. And so anytime we go extremely above or below that level, we're going to subconsciously either sabotage to bring us back down to that comfort zone or, do something to bring us back up to,
reaching.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's where we just are constantly pushing up against those upper limits so that our vibrational set point can go up to where we would really prefer for it to be.
Yes.
So Morgan, let me ask you this. What do you do to get comfortable, or anybody, doesn't have to be Morgan, to get comfortable, like inching up that vibrational scale? What do you do to be comfortable?
That's a great question, Amanda. And it's really been in my awareness recently because I have been feeling for like probably the past week a little agitated, a little anxiety, a little just vibrationally. And some of the same old repetitive fear stories and lack stories have been resurfacing in my mind. They're not as loud as they used to be, and they're not as persistent as they used to be, but it's like I'm in that lower vibration. So it's like opening the door for them to come back in. And I've been witnessing it and noticing that, there's something in my nervous system that needs help and support. And I don't have that all sorted. I don't have the answers. I don't really, other than doing yoga, breath work, like those different tools, I don't have a lot of work. I don't have a lot of expertise or background with doing that nervous system work. So I didn't really answer your question, but I was able to give you my experience with what you're talking about.
Well,
that's great, right? We don't have all the answers. We're all on this journey together.
There is the scale, the level of consciousness, right? And so it is, we've talked about this before on this podcast, that they're like the level of fear definitely has a lower vibration or a lower level feeling than joy. So we just know that. We know that in our body. We've all felt that. And so they scientifically have measured the energy level, the vibration of those feelings. So there's kind of the lower feelings, the shame, anger, fear, and then the higher ones, peace and acceptance and joy, and I don't know what else. I don't get that.
Unconditional love.
But love,
Harmony.
yeah. But the one part that I always focus on, and I call it the tipping point, is courage. Courage is the one that tips you from the lower to like the first part of the higher vibrations. So for me, when I get in this spot, Morgan, like you, and I am currently in there too. So I don't know, Mercury in retrograde or something, because I'm the same way too. I'm like a little on edge this week. Like the shoe's gonna drop. And but for me, courage will flip me out of that.
Yes.
Well,
I love
encourage
that.
to take contrary action, right?
Mhm.
Like,
What do you mean by
do the
that?
thing that you don't want to do. Like, do the thing that you don't want to do. Like, you know, they say that if you, well, okay, so I want to be a size 2 is not reasonable, but okay, I would take a size 8. And if I want to be a size 8 and I'm eating a donut, the contrary action would be to not eat a donut. Because if I want to truly be a size 8, I can't, I mean, sure, maybe in moderation I can be a size 8 and eat donuts, but I can't eat donuts every day or for every meal. And so just, or not wanting to write about your emotions, you know, or not wanting to go to bed on time.
That's
you know,
just it, Penny.
scrolling.
Like when we're in this lower vibration, we can know the tools that will help us, but we don't want to do them in those moments.
Exactly. Yeah. Not meditating when we know getting quiet and being still and listening for that still inspired action, what our next right step is. I mean, those are all ways that we stop ourselves. So taking contrary action is just doing it anyway, doing it even though we don't want to do it. And I have found, go ahead, Morgan.
But I can usually talk myself into doing, even when I am in that state, is going for a walk, or I like to just distract myself altogether, like do something just to distract myself from whatever the situation is. I think I've talked about that before. Go play with my new puppy or something.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Morgan. And like you said, going for a walk, even going and putting your feet on the ground, like take your shoes off and get your feet on the ground and really feel Mother Earth and feel nature, or go hug a tree. I mean, seriously, these are not like things that I'm joking about. I'm being serious. They really do make a difference because you get into the flow of nature, and nature is just flowing. It's unrestricted. Yeah.
Nature also has a vibration. Trees also have a vibration. Pets.
Yeah. And their vibration is usually pure.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just want to say, F it and make whatever I'm doing not wrong. Right? That's where I am at a lot of the time. I'm just going to take the guilt out of these donuts, right? Like I'm going to give myself full permission not to add shame and guilt to whatever behavior this is.
And
3 hours of solitaire.
And that would be also the gap.
Oh, you know, that's the gap.
That's some action that you do. That's part of the gap that doesn't get you to the goal because you're in that gap. And it's okay sometimes. I mean, it's okay.
Yeah,
you're going to have to share that exercise with us so we can share it with our listeners.
I will. And I think the other thing I do as part of the gap is and the gap is resistance. Amanda, what you just said, you know, playing 3 hours of solitaire or whatever, and not doing the contrary action, it's resistance. And that's okay, right? And we will get out of the resistance when we don't judge ourselves for being in the resistance. But when we judge ourselves, we're just going to spiral down further into those lower vibrations. So have the courage not to judge yourself, and you'll naturally come out of that gap. But part of the gap is just the resistance. Like when I was talking about my work, making more money, I was resisting it because I equated it to me having to do it all and work really hard, right? So part of what I've been doing is looking at when I resist and letting resistance go. So, and and I do the Sedona method. And it's all about resistance, and it's all about letting go of resistance.
So you want to get out of the gap.
You can get out of the gap, girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get on
like
with the goal. And I am going to trademark that statement. Get out of the gap, girl, and get on with the goal.
I like it. I like it.
Me too.
Thanks.
There was some show I watched with, I can't remember, maybe Harrison Ford and Jason Segel, Shrinking, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
And his advice, Harrison Ford's advice as the therapist, was to just give yourself permission to cry as much as you want to cry, but set your timer for 5 minutes and then be done with crying. So it's like, I love that. Like if I'm like, oh, I can see that I'm using this social media to numb or lower my vibration or whatever the case, eating the donut or whatever the case may be. Like, give yourself permission and give yourself like a healthy boundary. Like, I'm going to let myself do this. I'm going to let this be okay, but I'm going to stop after 30 minutes. I'm not going to do this for 2.5 hours tonight until it's time to go to bed. And then I'm a zombie. Like,
you know, I was just working with one of my mentors yesterday, and I was really tired because I stayed up to midnight watching Netflix the night before. And so we worked on some positive affirmations, and it's like, I can and will honor my rest and well-being. That's one of the statements I came up with. And I can watch Netflix when I'm done with everything around 7:00, but not at 10:00, you know, but my priority is to be my healthiest self. And so I can and will honor my rest and well-being. And so I can even, she suggested that I post that in places like on the electronic device that I normally watch Netflix on, so that I remember that I want to be in bed sleeping by 10 p.m. instead of watching Young Sheldon. So yeah. But I also, what was that? Get out of the gap, girl. And what was it? I want to write that as a post-it.
Get on with the goal. Something like
Get
that.
out of the gap, girl. And okay.
You guys,
Melissa's new t-shirt.
Yeah, we are coming towards the end of our time. And I would like to invite the listeners, if you like feel like this is something that you're like, yeah, this is where I am and I don't know how to do it. We are all spiritual counselors and we all work with people one-on-one. And on our website, if you would like to kind of dive into it a little bit deeper for yourselves, our contact information is on our website. I just really felt compelled to say that.
Thank you, Amanda. And I feel compelled to share one other thing, and it's super simple and you all know it, but gratitude. This is why gratitude is such a big part of any spiritual practice, because if you're in gratitude, even when your bank account drops to $40 below zero, if you can find something to be grateful for, that is the straightest line towards raising your vibration. Gratitude, 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 gratitude.
Thank you for saying that, Morgan.
I love that. Love those words of wisdom from both of you. So I have a couple of post-its. Align your words and your thought with your thoughts, and manifesting is easy. And simplest of them all is thoughts become things. So think the good ones, right? Think the good ones. We appreciate any and all feedback. You can post a comment in our website or on any of the podcast platforms or YouTube that you listen or watch to us. And yeah, follow us, cheer us on, come join us.
Yeah. Download the episode, leave a comment, leave a review, share.
Take them with you. Yeah, take them with you. So thanks so much, everyone. We appreciate you joining us on our spiritual journey. And next week, there will be another riveting, wonderful podcast. I'm confident of it. Gonna manifest it.
Manifest it,
Yeah.
Perfect.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.